Hey everyone, welcome to Biz Bounty Hunters. My name is Taylor Postel, and this is my channel. All these videos you're going to see are from my cold email masterclass for business acquisitions that I previously had on a school community, so the formatting might be a little different. Some things might show up like that, but no need to worry. I've moved everything for free here on YouTube, so everyone can watch through this whole class. It'll be divided up into the playlist, so you can follow along step by step everything that we previously had in our school community. But without further ado, please like and subscribe, and let's hop into the content. Hey everyone, this is Taylor with Biz Bounty Hunters. Today we're going to be going over cold email subject lines. Let's get into it. Here's what we're going to cover today: importance and basics of subject lines, subject line structure, some examples of subject lines you guys can kind of use to brainstorm, and some subject lines I've used personally with some results as well. Don't forget, sign up for the newsletter. We have important updates regarding the course. Link in the caption below. YouTube, Instagram, and X. Follow me for exclusive content at Biz Bounty Hunter. Share the course. Let's start a revolution and change people's lives together. Warning: this is the most important video in the entire course. Watch the entire video, don't skip, don't fast forward, and if you need to, watch it at 2x speed. So the importance and basics of subject lines. So first and foremost, these are setting the tone. This is your first impression of you in the email conversation that's going to proceed. So you need to remember that when you're building these out for your emails. It's your first impression, and it makes or breaks whether the email is opened or not. It's the determining factor if the email is opened. And if your email is never opened, we cannot, solicit that offer to buy the company, consult, whatever you're looking to do. So we need to get that email opened, and the subject line is the basis of that. You also need to think from their perspective. So if you're that business owner, what type of email would you open? Just remember they're receiving, spam for marketing services, other people wanting to buy their business, anything you can imagine they're getting. So we really need to stand out and think from their shoes and what will really resonate with them for them to open our email compared to everything else. You just need to get your foot in the door so you can pique their curiosity, address a pain point, get creative, see what works, see what doesn't. Be brief and clear, show your intentions quickly. You need to have 50 characters or less, be direct, and also remember to continue whatever message that you're conveying with the subject line needs to keep going. Don't, mislead them with anything, and be brief and concise. Get their attention, get them to open that email. You don't have long for their attention until they're going to delete it or just not open it and move on to the next one. Needs to be relevant to the recipient. You can use some personalization here, your local geography, some industry terms, their industry, their company name, fellow business owner, kind of relating to them that you're a business owner, you're in their industry, you're local, that kind of thing. Any pain points, I can help you grow your company, whatever it may be. Creating curiosity and value. So they need a reason to open the email. You can even have a value add, I have a track record of 3x in companies in 30 days, whatever it may be, but you don't want to be too salesy, but having that value add or leadership tips or things like that that may be useful for people in that industry is also a good way to get their attention. And avoiding spam trigger words. This goes for all, email subject lines, copy, and things like that. I'll link a tool down below that you can just put all your subject lines in, and it will tell you if the words are considered spam. You're probably not going to get away with 100% spam free for an effective subject line, but you want to definitely be cognizant and careful with spam words. So now we're going to get into some subject lines that I've used. Now we're going to jump in and take a look at some of the campaigns I've had success with and what subject lines I have used. All right. This is a campaign for home services based out of Arizona. Just as context, it did not run very long, but just still want to give you some results. So remember, we want to A and B test everything. So I did do 2 versions. So 38 of the first version delivered with a 31% open rate. Subject looking to sell company. So relating to them personally, this company name will pull from your data upload, but it did not perform as well as my other subject, which was company name purchase partnership inquiry dash private individual. So this I like to generally use just because, you have their company name, you're offering an acquisition or a partnership, so it's not as off-putting as a straight partnership, or vice versa for a purchase. And then private individual, wanting to convey that I'm a human, I'm not some private equity firm, some bigwig or anything like that. And that usually gets good results. So we had 23 opened with 42 delivered. So then with that, we have our yes and no. So generally, just for context for everybody, emails down the yes path, once they go past the first one, have a higher open rate in general than the no emails, just because they've opened it once, so they're more likely to open it again. Just wanted to preface that because the open rates are much higher than your standard first, which 55% is also a great result. So email 2, I also did testing. So we had a 75%, a 66%, but this one had a higher response rate. So is it due to the subject line? More than likely not, more likely the copy. But so version A with that 66.7, business acquisition / strategic partner - private individual. So doesn't have their business name in it like the first one did, but still showing, strategic partner, growth partner, acquisition, trying to be open-ended and conveying that I'm a private individual. This one's a little more direct. Would you like to sell your business? But I like the fellow business owner, just to, I'm not some random person. I have some business credentials, which I do. So if you have not owned a business in the past, I may be careful with that one. But since I have owned multiple businesses, I like to include that. So that got a 70, once again, only 4 were delivered. So, who knows how accurate this is, but just want to give you examples of everything that I've used. The campaign got turned off, but following that was just replying to the same subject. And then the 4th one was replying, so it did not have any new subject lines. Next, we'll go for the no side. So this one had a 46% open rate, which is quite high for the no path generally. Like this is a low level or low total delivery campaign, so the results could be skewed, but it's still a good idea. So this subject line, potential acquisition, interested to learn more about you and your business. Just kind of, potential acquisition, intrigued to learn more about them. I'm curious. I want to hear more of their story, so inquiring about them, and it's not always about me, can relay well. That one had 30.8%. I ended up turning it off and going with this one. So this one, business acquisition / strategic partner, private individual, which we used in the other email flow, which yielded great results. So obviously this is one I would definitely use in your campaigns. We will go back. So this is my primary campaign where I kind of built this system out with the most results with the open rate and response rate. So these have, proven numbers, high amount of emails sent. First one had 53.2 and one had 47.4, and both reply rate was better on these, but I didn't let it run long. As you can see, 19 sent out and then 376. So generally in a campaign, if I see one is doing significantly better, I will just switch over to it. So very quickly, I just stuck with this email subject line and copy just because it was resonating that much better. So I like to make a decision, within around the 20 emails delivered mark between each subject. You get a pretty good idea of what's going to work. So this campaign was specifically for home services in the Phoenix area. So purchase interest from Phoenix business owner. This was kind of the one that really worked well with my target market, and I just stuck with it. So not showing the partnership, I could have tested with that and maybe it would have yielded better results, but showing that I'm a local business owner and another business owner as well, I think helps resonate rather than, private equity firms, things like that. This one was very direct. I want to buy your business. Not a terrible open rate, to be honest, but could be a little more salesy. They're getting a lot of emails from a bunch of different people, so it doesn't show, even the company name I could have put in there for a little more personalization. Not that that's difficult to do, but just they could see this as, a spammy email, just I want to buy your business. A million people are getting it. So once again, we are on the yes path. So these following emails have much higher open rates. So this one I did not A/B test. This one is just their company name purchase inquiry. We had 78.5%. Next, your future plans for company name, 75.9. And finally, 63% like-minded business networking partnership. And this is due to the fact, like I mentioned in the presentation, to, whatever your subject line says, it needs to actually convey that message. So this is the kind of last follow-up. It's a month later, fourth email. So if they haven't responded already, they're probably not interested. So this is more of, hey, would love to network with you, get to know you. Not the whole sales, let me learn more about your business to buy, partner with you. So we still mention that, but it's more of a message around, hey, would love to just connect on a personal level with other business owners, not as salesy. So that's more to create a relationship towards the end since they have not yet replied. If we go over to the no path, obviously you can see the open rates are still great. I mean, 30%, 35% is still great, but after them not opening the first email, they are more likely to not. So we will go through these. So this one, very straightforward, their business name, acquisition. So Roto-Rooter, acquisition, whatever it might be. That one got 30%. Following up after that was interested in purchasing company name. That one, 35%. Went to 177 people. Email 4, want to sell your business with 23%, so definitely a lower amount than the others, a little more direct. So still great, if you're getting over 20% open rates, you're doing well, but I've just found generally we can do even better and get closer to that 50, 77% mark. So these subject lines are what have got me there. Here's another campaign, completely different target market. So I did marketing agencies briefly. It's sent to 97 total people. We had a 76% open rate and a 13% reply rate. So we will run through this one as well. So we did an A and B test. So we ran it for a little bit longer just because the reply rates were really good on both. And 58% to 50. So I believe I ran this one a while ago. I shut it off towards the end to get that split. So I let it run pretty far just because the results were quite close together. So I left it alone. So this one, I want to buy your business, obviously resonated much better with the marketing firm owners rather than home service, plumbing, electrical, HVAC owners. Version B, which I stuck with, exact same. So I believe in this one, it is only changes in copy. Yeah, the copy is different. So I kept the subject the exact same. So I want to buy your business yielded, 58.8% and 50% with an average of 54.8 between the two. So a great subject line for that specific industry. Like I said, you need to test these things. Sometimes a more straightforward approach can definitely work. So here we're on if the prospect has opened the email. We got 84.8%, just same as I used before. Company name, purchase inquiry. This one, 72% your future plans for companies. So I was sticking with the same subjects there. 66% a drop off there. So maybe this like-minded business networking partnership isn't the best, as it was also the lowest open rate with the previous campaign. I believe we will have the same subjects in the no path. Let's see. Yep. Company acquisition. Interested in purchasing company name. Strategic business acquisition. So this one did pretty well for the no side. Got 40%, 27, 31. So out of the least likely chain to open, strategic business acquisition yielded the best result, though. Also one I would definitely test. So here's some campaigns I ran for some other people. So, a little bit lower open rate, still a strong 10% response rate. This was a smaller campaign specifically for medical device manufacturing on the West Coast. So we didn't have a ton of data to pull from, which is why we only had 73 people. So a little too niche of a target, but this was a more difficult one for me, a completely different consumer who I'd been working with. So, medical device company owners are much different than home services and things like that. And this was for a partnership of two other people. So that's why it shows private individuals here. So still did very well, 37.7% with company name, purchase inquiry, private individuals, yielded a pretty good open rate and response as well. Version B, which I shut off. Business acquisition offer, private individuals, only 8 were sent, 2 were opened. So this is if they did open the initial email. As I said, you get much higher open rates at that point. So this was just responding to that initial email. So it just was response to the company name, purchase inquiry. Following that, response again, 71%. So this is a strong subject line if it's continually resonating. And then the very last one only got 60% open, still a strong reply rate. So as you can see, some campaigns I just do the reply after the initial. Sometimes I create new ones as the flow goes on. This is just something you're going to have to test and see which works best. So we're going to go to the no. This one back to strategic acquisition, business acquisition, strategic partner, private individual, got 9%, so not resonating well with med device. Here we did some more testing. Acquisition partnership discussion, like-minded business owner, 9%, so still relatively low. This one, future growth plans for company, got a single open, but they also came with a reply. And the fourth email, business growth partnership acquisition inquiry with 7%. So this medical device campaign was definitely a tough one for me, definitely different. So was looking to, had we had more data and more time to test and go with more copy, we would have had some better success, I'm sure. But for a very first try, also, I'm not familiar with the medical industry at all. This was for an individual I was doing the emails for, so it was just a newer experience for me. Still, 10% reply rate is amazing. So we still got some good replies out of that one, and was definitely a new territory for me. So then we have one. These are very small, but 35% open rates. This is same individual for manufacturing companies. Also something I'm not completely familiar with, but we'll give it a shot. Company purchase inquiry, private individuals. You can see I tend to lean on that one. We got 26.7. Then company name, acquisition offer, private individuals. We got 40%, so good result there, but not very many emails were sent out on this one, so hard to say. Just replying here, and it followed suit, just replying. So here is a campaign we did for home services as well. Definitely a more robust, 484. Total recipients were emailed, that was with bounces. So you're on to 484, 53% open, 10%. So almost, 50 replies. And some people replied to this campaign through, they called, they didn't actually email. So the reply rate was actually higher than this. And these are just AI generated positive negatives. Not all. Sometimes a positive reply was actually negative. So this doesn't actually show what happened, and a business was bought from this campaign as well. So went for the tried and true company purchase partnership inquiry private individual on this one with 41%. I did not do any A and B testing on this one. Probably should have, but we got pretty solid open rate off the bat, so kept it with that one. Then this is, if they did open the email, once again, very strong open rates after the first one. Just replied to that same subject line in the first one. Replied. So we'll go to the no path. 10% open rate. This one being business acquisition / strategic partner private individual. 10.8. This one we did 2 versions. Acquisition / partnership discussion, like-minded business owner, got 9.9. Future growth plans for company name got 10.7. But these results are very close, so I wouldn't be too worried about them. That's why I left them both on and did not turn one off, just because they were neck and neck. There wasn't a clear winner, so I kept both of them running. Then for the last one, 13.9% business growth partnership acquisition inquiry. So just based off of these campaigns going back through, I think the no campaign, if they didn't open the first email, is the best indicator of a good subject line, just because they're the least likely to view the email. So looking through here, this having that best response rate with 281 delivered, I would use that in my next campaign, starting off maybe and seeing how that goes. So here we have some smaller campaigns. 78% open rate, 5% response, not the greatest response. So this was for landscaping, very specific landscaping companies in Florida for a friend of mine. So off the bat, we had a very tight race with the both versions. Cut this one off right towards the end, but 68 to 70, really can't go wrong. But having the best reply results is, I believe, why I went with this one, having those 2. So company name, purchase inquiry, private individuals. Next, we had business acquisition offer, private individuals. Both great results. Not a ton of data behind it, but this campaign was a very niche target, so we weren't able to get very many businesses from our data pool. So next, just replied, and I'm assuming we replied. Yep, so consistently good open rates, 62% there. Go to the other side. Did pretty solid, 16.7 every time. So we'll see what these look like. Business acquisition, strategic partner, private individual. As you can see, I don't get too creative with my subject line since I found certain ones that work. Acquisition, partnership discussion, like-minded business owner, 20% there. Future growth plans for company. Not a ton of data there, so essentially a pretty good result compared to the other. They're neck and neck. Business growth partnership acquisition inquiry, so 16.7. Not the greatest on this campaign, but it was a very low data point campaign. Here's a brainstorm sheet I kind of built out for everybody. So it just has some brainstorming ideas. I did rely on AI to help me build this out. So a lot of it is based on that, but I think it's a good tool to use to get some frameworks and then change them and make them personal to yourself. So there's a ton of different categories on here. You got timely, use of numbers and data if you have it, case studies of, increase your profits by 35% in 12 months. Appealing to their ego, tons of different examples in here. And if you really wanted to, you could throw this into ChatGPT and tell you to, or Claude or whichever one you use to give you even more examples, or tell them your buy box, who you're looking to target, really get specific, and then ask them to personalize it for your industry, your geographic area, and see what it puts out. But remember, I would still tweak it and change it from what exactly it tells you, just because AI is AI and it's not perfect. So this is a great resource for you guys. I have it linked below this video. Come in here, make a copy of it, play around with it, make it bigger. But some rules of thumb: you want to keep your subject 50 characters or less when possible. For mobile viewing, is it the end of the world? Possibly. I don't know. So, and then also remember, your email content should deliver on the promise of your subject line. So like I show in some of the subject lines I have, the messaging can change as the campaign continues on, and those subject lines correlate. Like my ending follow-up email at the very end of my campaign is more of a like-minded partnership reach out, just wanting to get some sort of response or connection from the business owner, and the message follows suit to that. Obviously still mentioning I would like to buy their business, but it's more, hey, I'd love to just talk, network, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, rather than the sales, let's talk about selling your business. So just correlate your subject to your actual email and you'll do great. So now, in summary, let's go over everything we discussed. Remember, we need to stand out and pique their interest. This is our chance for them to open the email and really kind of get their attention, show that we're worth their time, and get them to read our email. Think from their perspective and what resonates with them. If it's not relatable, you'll get deleted, reported to spam. Nothing good will happen if you cannot relate to your target. And you constantly need to test. So in every campaign I do, I'm generally testing subject lines. Once you find ones that work, you need to stick with them and further test copy and things like that, but be constantly testing subject lines in different phases of your email. If you're using Woodpecker, when they're opening those emails, generally the subject rates, the open rates on those emails are going to be higher compared to the side of the emails that don't get open. So just remember that, but constantly be testing your email subject lines and seeing what works best for your specific market. If you start targeting a different market, it may not work. So you kind of are starting from scratch at that point. Don't forget, testimonial link is below. Leave a testimonial, win special prizes. So as of today's August 14th, 2024, so by the end of the month, whoever leaves a testimonial will be picking one person to get 1,000 free leads for their chosen buy box. And remember, get your hands dirty, take some action, test out those subject lines. Let's get going. Hope you guys enjoyed that content. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Peace.